Hey everybody, you did it. We did it together. We're here at the Canary Cry News Talk live stream pre-stream, and we're just about to get the show going. Waiting for all these things to connect. It seems like there's some gremlins in the system that are making it difficult to send out our stream to the world. So if you are listening to this, you are in the elite few. There's only 144,000 people who will be receiving this stream. I'm getting some emergency language funneled into my ear from producer Gonz in the control room, but I'm assuming he's going to be able to fix whatever that problem is, because it's just you and me here now, listener, and everybody else who is also here as well. So thanks for being here. You know the usual. Go to CanaryCry.Party to find all sorts of fun stuff, just so much good stuff. Let's see here. Oh, if you're on the email list, you have received our sources for today's show, so you can follow along at home, read the sources as you listen to the show. If you are not yet on that list, go. If you're not yet on that list, go. You know, get on the list. Join the newsletter at CanaryCry.Party. There's a loud bird outside of my window, which is really distracting everybody. All right. Yes. And join the text message list. You can do that by texting the word Canary to the number you will see on your screen, 877-740-3226, 877-740-3226. Okay. I think we need to get the show started. So let's do that. Stay hydrated, folks. And I don't know, call your mom. Call your mom. She's been waiting to hear from you.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy. You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. We are live to tape on March 21st, 2022. This is episode 461. And today, the great REGRETZKY. Razzle dazzle, I'm your best buddy Basil.
And we're canceled already. And my name is Gonz, your favorite Asian provocateur for Christ. Welcome to the podcast where we bring you the best news, which is the gospel message of Jesus Christ, while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events. And shall we just jump right in?
We shall just jump right in. We've got.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
No, that was a quick story. I was going to cue it up a little bit more, but no, that's good. And now here we are, wasting more time. Let's do it. Lead story, go.
Ukraine, new world order. Russia.
Yes.
Wow.
Russia.
It's still happening, huh?
It's Russia and Ukraine, yeah.
Still happening.
There's a thing going on. Mm-hmm.
Well, we got to keep up with that. What do you got for us, Gonz?
Okay, well, just a couple updates and then some more of the egregious news. This is Zelensky was on CNN. And he says, this headline here, Zelensky tells CNN he's ready for negotiations with Putin. And I got a 1.5-minute clip here. The consequences of not being able to negotiate with Putin are dire.
Will it be hard? Will it be painful for you to have to sit down with Putin were he to agree and negotiate with him?
I'm ready for negotiations with him. I was ready over the last 2 years. And I think that I think that without negotiations, we cannot end this war. If there is just 1% chance for us to stop this war, I think that we need to take this chance. We need to do that. I can tell you about the result of this negotiations. In any case, we're losing people on a daily basis, innocent people on the ground. Russian forces have come to exterminate us, to kill us, and we have demonstrated the dignity of our people and our army, that we are able to deal a powerful blow. We are able to strike back. But unfortunately, our dignity is not going to preserve the lives. So I think that we have to use any format, any chance in order to have a possibility of negotiating, the possibility of talking to Putin. But if these attempts fail, that would mean that this is a third world war.
More World War III talk, Basil. It's all happening slowly but surely.
Was that buzz in the CNN footage, or is that us?
It was in the footage, yeah. Yeah, good job. But, well, you know, it's the connection between Ukraine, the Ukrainian office right now, internet's a little shaky. Maybe that was some...
not a great advertisement for Starlink.
I was going to say, Starlink needs to make some patches.
That would be somebody on the ground making a whoopsie. Okay, so, yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's anything super surprising in there. He's claiming that he's been open. I thought it was interesting, you know, claiming to be open to negotiate with Putin for 2 years when the average American... I can only speak for Americans. The average American has no idea what that is in reference to.
This started in February, bro. February 2022 is when things started to go down in Ukraine with Russia and Putin.
So
on the news told me.
Yeah, on one hand, it's kind of I could see the average CNN viewer maybe either just not really hearing that, glossing over, right?
They're like, what? I don't get it.
Yeah. Okay, but using the World War III word, we've been hearing World War III for a while now, mainly from sort of alarmist artists in the U.S., both in the mainstream media and, on some pretty reputable independent media sources. But to have it coming straight from Zelensky's mouth is a little different. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of an interesting perspective there. He's the leader of a country that is being invaded, and he's sort of using the language of like, hey, this is all your problem. This is not just my problem. This is everybody's problem.
I know Putin,
which of course we've been sort of told before.
Putin did a big rally and stuff, and do you think I didn't watch it, but does he mention World War III at all in his speech? Because it'd be interesting.
I have not watched it either.
Because all we're hearing from is this side of the aisle.
I doubt it. I doubt it very much, because you're not allowed. You can go to jail in Russia right now for calling it a war. You're not allowed to call this a war, or else you get black bagged and, spend 6 months in jail or something. Yeah. So I very much doubt that he is talking about it in these terms.
Uh-oh. What happened? We lost your sound. Okay. Well, while Basil figures that out, I think, no sound coming from Basil. What was I going to say? Oh, part of the conversation, Zelensky on CNN here, he mentioned Israel and about how, maybe we can meet in Jerusalem, have a meeting with Putin in Jerusalem. So that's always something interesting to keep an eye on as well. Just the implications, the role Israel plays in all of this. So, just to touch base on that. We also have this story here from The Week being mirrored on Yahoo News. And the headline here is Zelensky nationalizes TV news and restricts opposition parties. So, man, it's almost like whatever we do, whatever side you're on the side of totalitarian stuff here. So it says, on Saturday and Sunday, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky invoked his emergency powers under martial law to suppress several opposition political parties and implement a, quote, unified information policy. In an address to the nation delivered Sunday, he announced a temporary ban on any activity by 11 political parties. The ban includes the opposition platform For Life Party, which holds 43 seats in Ukraine's national parliament and is the largest opposition party. Opposition platform For Life is a pro-Russia party, but on March 8th, party leader Yuri Boyko demanded that Russia, quote, stop the aggression against Ukraine, according to Ukrainian outlet LB. That same day, Viktor Medvedchuk, who was accused of treason against Ukraine in May and escaped from house arrest shortly after the invasion began, was removed from his post as the party's co-chair, Russian President Vladimir Putin, is godfather to Medvedchuk's daughter. Zelensky's information policy involves, quote, combing all national TV channels, the program content of which consists mainly of information and or information analytical programs. I guess we would be considered information analytical. Into a single information platform of strategic communication to be called United News. Can they be more blatant about controlling the information through news media? I mean, it is so blatant.
I'm back. Can you hear me?
You're back. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Yes, the nationalization of the news.
Yeah.
I mean, just full on destruction of a free media in Ukraine. This is Ukraine, right?
Yeah, this is Ukraine. Yeah.
I had my headphones off for a second. It's full on nationalization, destruction of a free independent media and an institution of blatant state media, state-run media. Not even just state-run channel like the BBC or something like that. But you have, Russia-style, dictator-style, state-owned and operated media.
Right.
Now, of course, this is done in the context of, wartime measures, but all of these things are done in the context of wartime measures. All the COVID things were done under the guise that this was a type of wartime measure. Same with Canada and the truckers, and the freezing of accounts and the police activity, militarized police activity. These were all done under what was formerly known as the War Powers Act. Just these types of steps taken during war. Of course, the logic of it can be understood, but it does not mean that it's always for the better.
Yeah.
And to connect it with the point I was going to make before my strange poltergeist experience just now, you see
Putin bot taking you down.
Yeah, you see Zelensky using language that the tyrannical dictator Vladimir Putin is not using in his own country.
Yeah.
So the U.S. narrative of this is very strong. I mean, the narrative control rather is very strong when you look at the facts and the actions. Again, I'm not a pro-Zelensky, anti-Zelensky, pro-Putin, whatever. I'm none of that. I'm just
impossible. You must take a side on this debate, Basil. You're not even a human if you don't take a side.
Just calling them how I sees them, man. You have the Zelensky, the Ukrainian government repeatedly praised for being a democratically elected government, being oppressed by a tyrannical dictator. And yet they're taking what some might call authoritarian steps and control.
Yeah,
so
I would say it's worse.
Do they give it up? The trick is, do they ever give it up if this ever ends?
It's even worse that they are saying one thing and doing another. At least with Russia, it's like, yes, we control everything. Or in China, too. They're like, yes, we are the party. We control everything. And it's like, it's
transparency.
Open. Yeah, but then in the West, it's like, no, we stand for freedom. We are locking out all information that is not state operated. It's like, whoa, man. Let me finish the article. It's 2 sentences left. Reuters notes that until Saturday, privately owned Ukrainian media outlets, quote, continued to operate independently until they get silenced one by one by some Night Stalker who comes and takes them or whatever. Yeah.
Operate independently. I mean, business corporations in China operate quote unquote independently. That doesn't mean anything, really.
Maybe our inability to stream to certain platforms today is because of our independent operation.
The Facebook operations. I mean, for some reason, for no reason, no explanation, no nothing, no banning, no official banning, no nothing. We just simply cannot connect to Facebook to stream.
That's weird.
For an unexplained reason.
Twitter, it looks like, on certain.
Or Twitter. Weird. The social media platforms known for silencing dissent are the only platforms that we're unable to connect to today.
Yeah, strange.
I guess YouTube is still there, but they're not technically a social media platform.
I'm bummed that we can't connect to Odysee and Rumble and stuff. It's
we're not connected to Odysee, you say?
Yeah.
It is weird. What is going on?
Yeah, what I don't know.
It's showing connecting.
Is it?
Okay, we're getting
sidetracked here.
I don't know. Yes, stick with it. Well, let me investigate.
All right. Well, part of this, you might have to not investigate because I'm prompting you, Basil, to speak about the cyber pandemic.
The COVID-19 crisis would be seen as a small disturbance in comparison to a major cyber pandemic.
That's right. Lots of talk, lots of hacker talk, lots of ransomware talk, lots of cyber pandemic talk. And this is what is making such a strong connection for me between what's going on in Ukraine and Russia and the overarching storyline we've seen played out of the Great Reset or the Great REGRETZKY. But here's just a piece of it. Later. Yeah, here's just a piece of it, and I'll fill in the gaps where they exist. This is coming from ArsTechnica.com, and the headline is Leaked Ransomware Documents Show Conti, C-O-N-T-I, helping Putin from the shadows. Oh, the shadows.
Like their little art here is
great art. Yes, it's a hacker. Sort of a hacker-looking fella in black and white wearing the hoodie. You know, all hackers wear hoodies while they are on their laptops. But instead of the Guy Fawkes mask, which Anonymous, the hacker group, is so famous for wearing, this hacker is wearing a Vladimir Putin mask. So, yeah, a new, which is weird again because Guy Fawkes is supposed to be like an anti-government, sort of icon from the past. Yeah. And considering the different narratives surrounding Putin, there's certain a group of people who think that Putin is some sort of like anti-global governance, rebel or something. So it's just kind of weird mixed messages coming from this art. But it reads like this. For years, Russia's cybercrime groups have acted with relative impunity. The Kremlin and local law enforcement have largely turned a blind eye to disruptive ransomware attacks as long as they didn't target Russian companies. Despite direct pressure on Vladimir Putin to tackle ransomware groups, they're still intimately tied to Russia's interests. A recent leak from one of the most notorious such groups provides a glimpse into the nature of those ties and just how tenuous they may be. Ooh, are we questioning the strength of Putin's control over hacker groups? Where exactly are we going with this, ArsTechnica? A cache of 60,000 leaked chat messages and files from the notorious Conti ransomware group provides glimpses of how the criminal gang is well connected within Russia. The documents, reviewed by Wired and first published online at the end of February by an anonymous Ukrainian cybersecurity researcher who infiltrated the group, show how Conti operates on a daily basis and its crypto ambitions. Now, the first fun thing to point out is this anonymous Ukrainian cybersecurity researcher was formerly reported as an actual member of Conti. This group Conti is technically an international group of hackers, sort of bound by this desire to scam like companies and grandmothers out of their savings accounts. But also, they kind of have that little, they kind of got a little bit of an anonymous feel, targeting
vigilante.
Large. Yeah, there's a little bit of that for sure. Please don't hack me, Conti. I've got nothing of value for you. But previously, this quote-unquote anonymous Ukrainian cybersecurity researcher who infiltrated the group was reported as, just a Ukrainian member of the group. Like, he was just a Ukrainian hacker who worked with the hacker group. And but when all this started, and, of course, Russia invaded Ukraine, there were some messages, and they may go into it here, but the messages being sent between the hackers and the group was like, oh, let's hack the Ukrainian, the Ukrainian government. Let's help out Putin. He'll reward us for this, stuff like that. And the Ukrainian guy was just like, wait a second. No, wait. And that's when he leaked the stuff. So this little tidbit of the Ukrainian cybersecurity researcher who infiltrated the group, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. It may just be updated information, perhaps, or, I don't know, whatever it is. But that is new. It was reported a while back that it was, he was a member who had operated with the group and committed crimes,
right.
But I don't know. Maybe there's new information. Anywho, the Ukrainian cybersecurity researcher who infiltrated the group show how Conti operates on a daily basis and its crypto ambitions. They likely further reveal how Conti members have connections to the Federal Security Service, FSB, and an acute awareness of the operations of Russia's government-backed military hackers. As the world was struggling to come to grips with the COVID-19 pandemic's outbreak and early waves in July 2020, cyber criminals around the world turned their attention to the health crisis. On July 16th of that year, the governments of UK, US, and Canada publicly called out Russia's state-backed military hackers. I remember reporting on that, Gonz, for trying to steal intellectual property related to the earliest vaccine candidates. So we have this hacker group. Not only are they hackers targeting and doing Putin's bidding, but they're trying to steal the vaccine. The same vaccine that Bill Gates is protecting with his life and doesn't want to let, third world countries make on their own because it's not profitable that way.
This feels like an operation to give value to the data, because otherwise I don't think truly this information that allegedly Russia's looking for vaccine related information or whatever.
That's just some background. Whatever. I mean, that's just to build this narrative that they're bad guys. But again, you think of the logic. If you're in the narrative, if you're believing the narrative, if you're buying the story being fed to us about the vaccine, these guys are kind of doing like a little Robin Hood thing. They're you're not going to give your vaccine to the rest of the world. You're going to charge everybody and you're going to keep the patents. Okay, well, we'll just steal it from you. How about that?
You know what that sounds like is an arm of the UN. Like if the UN had like an underbelly of criminal vigilante types that are funded. That's what they do, because the messaging from the UN has been that, give
it away for free.
Why are you so greedy? We wouldn't have killed so many people worldwide if you shared the vaccine. And then we have these hackers sort of doing it, from Russia or whatever. So it's like, all right.
So I'm gonna skip down a little bit because they go in depth to that kind of stuff. But let me jump down here. While evidence of Conti's direct ties to the Russian government remains elusive, okay. Weird. You made it sound pretty solid.
Yeah, the whole article is based on this idea, but of course.
No, but the evidence is elusive. The gang's activities, and it's a gang, by the way.
A gang, yes.
It's not a hacker group or something. It's a gang. The gang's activities continue to fall in line with national interests. Okay, so you have national
interests that they've declared for Russia. Let me speak for Putin.
And it's funny because this group, they're very much painted as like a nationalist group.
Yeah.
Like, they love their country, so they're bad guys.
Yeah.
Quote, the impression from the leaked chats is that the leader of Conti understood that they were allowed to operate as long as they followed unspoken guidelines from the Russian government, says Alan Liska, an analyst for the security firm Recorded Future. Quote, there appeared to have been at least some lines of communication between the Russian government and Conti leadership. Yeah. Well, if you don't think that there's some line of government, some line of communication between our government and hacker groups, then you're just sort of being silly. Yeah. In April 2021, Mango, a key Conti manager who helps organize the group, asked Professor, quote, do we work on politics? When the professor asked for more information, Mango shared chat messages they had with one person using the handle JohnnyBoy77. All the members of the gang use monikers to help hide their identities. Ooh, hackers. Hackers.
Isn't that the internet?
It's called the internet.
The entire internet.
The pair were it's just like their Twitter, their Twitter handle. Ooh, listen to their secret code names.
Secret code names. Wow. Okay. Well, what's the point here? What's
Johnny Bananas?
Secret network of assassins. Is that where we're getting? Like, what's the direction here? Because I got some ESG stuff I want to squeeze in.
Let me jump down. I mean, it's I could just kind of summarize it. Long story short, this hacker. I mean, it's linking everything that's going on now back to the elections. It's linking, all the Russian hacking, the similar to the article we had about Putin's propaganda network crumbling before our eyes. We're supposed to connect the World War III, the Putin, the evil genius or psycho monster, whatever we're supposed to think he is now. We are connecting that to the cyber pandemic, basically.
Yes.
Which is, it's not just, we just finished with the pandemic and now the cyber pandemic is here. Well, maybe it's time for a great reset, Gonz.
Yeah, they really need to rebuild the cyber infrastructure if they really want to control everything. So, of course, they need to blow it up somehow. And they need a scapegoat to take the blame. And obviously, it's Putin, Russia, and any hackers therein. It's a whole, all of them. They must be eliminated. They are a virus.
It rounds out the picture. It rounds out the picture that Putin. It's almost like Putin fits the what should we call it?
Archetype.
We should call it the prophecies of Klaus. It's the much how there's like the book of Revelation talking about the Antichrist. Putin now fits the bill as the anti-Klaus, who was foretold in the ancient tomes of the Great Reset. Again, further moving forward the grand plan to reset the global order, reset global economics, and bring about this wonderful new world that Emperor Klaus Putin has created for us.
Yep. And one of the big things here is the ESG initiatives. We've been talking about this for months and really digging in. At least I've been kind of checking in on it. And all of this has to do with oil and restructuring the commodities and everything. We've covered that. But this is Market Insider in the headline here. An economist explains why Saudi Arabia and China are looking to ditch the dollar in a new oil deal and where Beijing can target next as it spreads yuan adoption. So
again, Emperor Klaus Putin was right. Kind of weird how just literally everything that happens in the world lines up with exactly how he said it should happen.
Yeah, and I'll just read the bullet points and then highlight a thought here that's in here. First, reports of Saudi Arabia deal priced in China's currency could signal unease with reliance on the U.S. dollar, according to an economist. Quote, a potential deal in yuan is a sign that the world is looking for some counterweight to the U.S. dollar, Alexander Tomic told Insider. China plans an outsized role in Africa, which is the most likely place where it could displace the dollar, he said. So they're targeting Africa specifically as a place where because taking over the dollar, and even the professor here that they quote in the article says, like, well, yeah, they're kind of doing this symbolically. It wouldn't necessarily mean that they're going to completely take over, but in places like Africa where there's development to be made, that's kind of, it's fair ground. It's kind of like they can come in and control stuff easier. They could start with the yuan, and do kind of what the US has done around the world, but now China's doing it with Africa. So it'll be interesting to see. And this ties directly the oil pipelines, the oil crisis, the shortage, right? The shortage of oil, running out of oil in the West here. That crisis is directly tied to this whole Great Reset situation. This document going viral over the last few days from the IEA, which is the
International Energy Association?
Yes, that is correct. Thank you. They have a document here, a 10-point plan to cut oil use. And, again, it's been shared, but let me just go through it real quickly and tally some stuff, sir. We got reduce speed limits on highways by at least 10 kilometers per hour. Okay. Work from home up to 3 days a week where possible. So stay at home. Oil crisis, stay at home, which everybody's been calling this, but
more lockdowns. It's the climate change lockdowns.
Car-free Sundays in large cities. Make public transport cheaper. Incentive micro-mobility, walking and cycling. Alternative private car use in large cities. This is all pointing to autonomous driving vehicles. Urge car sharing and practices that decrease fuel use, promote efficient use of freight trucks and goods delivery, hasten adoption of electric and more efficient vehicles. So like the last four have to do with technology and the car and that kind of stuff. Avoid business travel when another personal one. Avoid business travel when alternatives exist. So
what does that mean?
You don't need to travel to have meetings. You can have a Zoom meeting.
Work from home, Skype in, right? Yeah.
Stay at home. Prefer high speed and night trains to planes where possible. Interesting. Get everybody on the ground. And so, three or four out of these have to do with, and the overall tone here is stay home. Lockdown from COVID, stay home. Lockdown from oil crisis, we need to stay home. This is a matter of energy consumption for the West. If you want us to continue our way of life, we have to sacrifice some things, and here are some things we can sacrifice. And it got me thinking about, just in the last few years of doing this research and covering all this stuff, it reminded me of 2017. This is a couple of years before the pandemic. The United Nations declared 2017 the International Year of Sustainable Tourism for Development. And I remember at the time thinking, like, that's kind of weird. Like, why would they be promoting tourism?
Or focusing on it, right? Okay, yeah.
So
if you're trying to figure out how to save the world from devastating effects of carbon emissions,
right?
You'd want to tell everybody stay home,
right? Stay home.
Yeah, okay.
Not travel. But the reason why I think they were ahead of they put this out there ahead of time, the International Year of Sustainable Tourism, is because what they want to do with something like this, or the IEA, which is, we're going to lock down, we're going to choke out all the traveling pipelines and supply chain pipelines, and we can impose more control over everything, right? It's almost like, and I told you this before, Basil, but it's kind of like creating a giant theme park for everybody. It's like, hey, which world do you want to go to? Do you want to go to the America world? Great, you have to abide by these rules. Do you want to go to Canada world? Whatever. So
you want to go to Antarctica world.
I think that's part of it too, and I think you have to be very
desert
privileged to be allowed access into that area. You got to have a ticket to get in. Think of it as a theme park, and if you extract this sort of a larger scale thing, what's kind of the biggest topic when it comes to the world and our lives? It's really, you talk about religion, you talk about the concept of God, the conversation about God, that, and religion in general has been massively influential in society and civilization. And so when we talk about travel and worship and we start to build that whole thing, you begin to see how the infrastructure for the end times is kind of coming together. And on that, before we jump into a break here, I have this clip that I ran into from BitBoy Crypto. He's one of the biggest crypto, influencers, whatever you want to call it. allegedly he's a Christian. Heard him talk about Jesus from, time to time, drop it in with stuff. He's an entrepreneur type. But he was doing a broadcast the other day, and I had to clip this moment out of it just to have something fun. But it's a 2-second clip from the show.
Golly, I feel like we're living in the end times.
There you go.
Fun. Yep. And all this, if it weren't for Putin, none of this would be possible.
Thanks, Putin.
The panic, the shortage, the financial aspects
the
of
crisis that is needed in order to create the chaos that is needed to create change.
The anti-Klaus Putin has revealed himself, and it's no surprise. I mean, it does not come as a surprise. And just to remind everybody, Putin was also one of Klaus's young global leaders.
Right.
So he's been plugged into the plan the whole time.
Mm-hmm. Maybe he feels betrayed. I've trained you well, and you turn your back on me. Or they're in on it.
Either that, or yes, he's just playing his part in order to bring about the new world order. He's playing the bad guy.
I just had this image of Klaus in his little outfit on like a throne, and Zelensky and Putin both kneeling to Klaus.
Wow.
Father Klaus, are we doing a good job with our operations?
Yeah, that's hardcore. Yeah. All right. Well done, my sons. All right, Gonz. Well, it's time to keep the show rolling, and you know what day it is.
It is Monday.
Gary, what day is it? Monday.
Indeed. And Gonz, I just have one fun little update.
Okay.
Listeners will remember when I've talked about wanting to get some Narcan just to have it around as like a good prepper boy.
Mm-hmm.
You got your what do they call it? EpiPen in the fanny pack, just in case anybody eats some peanuts around you they weren't supposed to, or get some Narcan just in case you come across an emergency opioid situation. And went ahead and did it. Got some Narcan. Incredibly easy to do, apparently.
What did you do? Sign some papers?
Yeah,
give away
just
a
literally
fingerprint or two?
You just walk into the CVS and you say you want some, and they say, okay, come back in 15 minutes. And
nice.
You get it. Yeah. So there you go. I'm fully prepped out to resuscitate anybody who's having an emergency anaphylactic or opioid overdose.
Great.
So there you go. Next level prepper achieved.
Great.
I recommend everybody do this. It's just part of being a responsible person.
Are you going to have it kind of like in your sleeve, ready to go?
No, it's in the fanny pack.
Oh, okay.
Because I want everybody to see my cool fanny pack while I save somebody's life. And for maybe if you're out there and you've not heard me talk about this and you're wondering why is Basil carrying around anti-opioid overdose medication, just because I believe it just feels like a right thing to do, whether or not whatever circumstances led to somebody having an opioid overdose, it is someone's life. It is someone's child. It is someone who deserves a second chance. And, if nobody else is carrying the literal instant antidote that could bring somebody back to life, wouldn't you want to be that person? I think it's a pretty cool idea. And turns out pretty easy to be that person. So there you go. Go to your pharmacy. Just ask them for a Narcan. And it's pretty cheap. It's like $50, I think, for two spray bottles. So there you go. Everybody should be able to save a life if something happens.
Very good. I have a quick thing to mention. We got a little some romance bells there.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Great.
The Fountain app that we've for some reason just had in our thing for a while because, hey, why not? It's one of our producers.
A listener, a producer of the show, created a dating app for truther Christians. Mm-hmm. And they were, a producer of the show. So, we stuck it in there. Kind of forgot that it was in there, but people found it apparently.
Well, I'm delighted to announce that we have another, a Canary Cry betrothing.
Okay. A commitment? Is it an actual?
Oh, yeah.
Is it a commitment to be wed, or are they wed?
It is a commitment, I believe.
Okay.
Dame Stormy, daughter of the king.
She's a dame too.
Yes,
okay. This is a big deal.
And Sam, producer Sam, friend Sam, which I was thinking, Basil, we can probably honorary Sir Sam at some point, just from the history of Sam with us.
We have a long history. He's certainly at least sneaking around the castle. Yeah.
Right. So
he's got a master skeleton key. Okay, and I'm assuming that we got permission to put out this wonderful news.
We did. I made sure there was
wonderful.
Nothing wrong with that. So I guess we can add another line in the.
Yes.
Who's counting? Who's counting? But
the second Canary Cry marriage that we know of. Yes, that we know of. There's been more Canary Cry babies than Canary Cry weddings.
True.
Which, look, I don't know what that says about us, but hey, that's cool, man. Well, congratulations to Sam and Dame Stormy.
Yep,
love it.
There you go.
Beautiful.
That's my little personal thing.
That's a great one. Okay, and with that, Gonz, it's time to thank our executive producer for this show.
Executive producers.
Okay, so yes, of course, you probably already know, but you may have noticed that there's no advertisements, no affiliate codes, no nothing, baby. We are entirely funded by the generosity and the commitment of our producers to support via the value for value model, support true independence in this media space, but specifically this show. And people who do support this show, they're called producers. You can produce the show with your time, your talent, or your treasure. But we do like to thank our executive producers right up top here. These are people who came in hot to make this show happen. Hot. And today's executive producer is it's Juan A. He's back, baby.
He is the Juan today.
Yes, you are the Juan. Thank you very much, Juan. And Juan, glad to see you're back. I love it when Juan drops back in, and he comes in, and he is the executive producer of this episode 461.
Where'd you find this?
Sorry.
And we will thank him again and read a note and such later on in our first break. But there you go. That be all, Gonz.
That be it. Okay, well, if that is the case to be, then let's... What does that even mean? I don't know what I'm saying anymore.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
We've lost track. But you know who else, might be in line to become an honorary producer of this show? It's Flippy.
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
Whew,
That's right.
How hot that jingle comes in.
It's too hot. Too hot, baby. Too hot for TV. That's why we're on YouTube.
Kind of. Barely.
So it's time for the Flippy update. Flippy is our colloquial name for the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. We use talking about Flippy as a way to explore all the new, fun, and exciting ways that robots are taking over the world and just how there's nothing we can do about it. Today, Gonz, this is coming from Variety.com, and the headline, "The Russian Arm Made in Ukraine gets a name change." Okay, of course it gets a name change. You can't make an arm in Ukraine and call it the Russian arm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, impossible. Yeah. In The War of the Worlds, Tom Cruise flees an alien invasion in a Plymouth minivan. The camera swoops around and around, capturing the drama inside the van as it swerves through traffic and rising from a point below the bumper to look down on the chaos from high above.
Aliens.
That shot was made possible by the Russian arm, a gyro-stabilized crane mounted on the roof of a car. The technology was introduced in the late 1990s and has become a mainstay of the Fast and Furious and Mission Impossible franchises, as well as Marvel and DC superhero films such as Black Widow and Wonder Woman. Whenever there's a car, they just had to include DC in there, whenever there's a car chase or a cavalry charge or a stampede of giant robots, the director calls for the Russian arm. But wait. The arm is not, strictly speaking, Russian.
Oh.
The company that makes it is based in Ukraine.
Oh, no. What are we going to do?
And now that Russia has invaded Ukraine, the manufacturer Filmotechnik has decided to rally around its national flag. The arm's new name? The Ukraine. Very good name. And if you want the spelling, it's capital U hyphen capital CRANE, the Ukraine. Quote, the new official name of Filmotechnik's world-famous system is now Ukraine, in honor of its country of origin and their heroic fight against Russian aggression. The company's U.S. branch announced on Instagram on February 28th, quote, the gyro-stabilized crane system was designed and built in Ukraine by Filmotechnik and will continue to be built in Kyiv for years to come! Exclamation mark. Filmotechnik...
I'm sorry, just sort of the absurdity of the story of like we're changing. We can't change it to a benign name. We have to do the opposite of Russia arm,
right?
So we have
You've
to
got to make a statement.
Yeah, you got to go with
change
Ukraine.
it. Yeah. Why was it called Russia arm in the first place? That's a good question. Filmotechnik has about 200
made it.
50 employees in Kyiv. Some have fled to safe havens in Europe. Some are hiding in bunkers and parking garages, and some joined the Ukrainian army. So far, the company's headquarters remain intact, and no employees have been injured, according to Kevin Deschemaker of Filmotechnik USA. The company also has offices in Europe and Canada, and its technicians continue to show up on sets as normal. According to Deschemaker, the international team decided to officially retire the term Russian arm as a tribute to the company's founder and owner, the Ukrainian film engineer Anatoly Kokush, and to the company's Ukrainian employees. Quote, I don't need that quote. That was just them changing the name.
It's called a Ukraine now.
Yes, there's lots of quotes just from like company emails that are not very interesting.
Filmotechnik has since spawned numerous competitors: the Edge, the Pursuit arm, the Ultimate arm, the Scorpio arm, all of which do basically the same thing, and all of which are commonly called by the generic term Russian arm. So
yeah, exactly, and that's what I was getting to. You know, we both lived in Southern. You still do, and I lived in Southern California. And when you live in Southern California, and you know the types of people that we, are, tech people doing sound stuff or especially working at a megachurch, you come in contact with a lot of people in the film industry. Yeah, and so this idea, the way that people in the industry talk about these arms on cars that hold a camera, it's like there's some sort of like mix between ancient alien technology and their own type of celebrity.
Right.
Yeah. You pick up any trade magazine and they'll have an article about, this arm that does the crane shots and stuff. And they're talked about as if they are a person. Or as if they are like the team that runs them is some sort of like elite Navy SEAL style. And look, it's a cool device.
Yeah.
But now we got drones and stuff. So come on. But yes, Filmotechnik did not start using the term Russian arm until 2003, when two former employees, George Peters, a grip, and Lev Yevstravov, a technician, started a rival company, Adventure Equipment. They began selling the ultimate arm, which they sometimes described as a Russian arm, and they registered the web domain RussianArm.com. Whoopsies.
Couldn't foretell what was going to happen 20 years later, bro. Bad move.
Yeah, and it goes on and on. It's an extremely long article, as any article about a device in the film industry tends to be.
What I think because we had an episode of 5 episodes ago, and I spelled it U like YOU, Ukraine. My theory is that they were looking at robot arm names and they found Flippy updates from Canary Cry News Talk, and they saw the Ukraine and they thought, but we can't directly do that, so we'll do something
that is
similar.
a very special aspect of our hubris that when anything happens in the world, we pretty much assume it's us. And I don't think we're wrong. I think
we can be wrong.
There's no way we could possibly be wrong about that. So there you go. So let's bring it back to the Flippy update. How does this connect? So, of course, we talk about Flippy as the, the progenitor of sort of a robot invasion, but also the use of robots in social engineering, but also the use of robots in making political statements and crafting narratives. And I think this is a very special case of that, because these Russian arms, or Ukraines, is more of like a colloquial term for any crane-mounted camera that is used in Hollywood like every day. This is a change of colloquialism coming straight from the top of influence in at least our society and possibly the whole world society, being, Hollywood making a statement, making some sort of slacktivist statement to show the narrative which we are all to support now. And Russia's out, baby. Russia's out, and Ukraine. And it may seem, I think if you're not in LA or like in that industry, you would never know this and you never care, and you probably still don't care. But as we know from doing what we do now for 10 years here at Gonz, is that it starts there. It's the sort of spirit of the day. The zeitgeist starts in LA and trickles out. And this is just one manifestation of how small of a change that they are willing to make in order to maintain the trend in the social narrative. And I think we're going to see a lot more of this type of stuff. Of course, we've seen tons of this stuff. But the fact that they are renaming a colloquial nickname for a piece of equipment that is made by a dozen companies shows that it's very strong. The sentiment is strong, and it is spreading, and they are changing Hollywood culture to respond to it. And to give another example, there's something, the film industry is weird. All the names for equipment are really old and they're really funky. Like one example, there was an example of a piece of equipment that had a racial slur in it, and the industry basically ubiquitously used this racial slurred name for a piece of equipment up until like just about 10 years ago. And so they're really slow to change these sort of nicknames. And the fact that this one changed, within a month and a half of this event is a pretty big deal. Yeah. If you pay attention to those sorts of things. So there you go. Flippy changing culture day after day, and here to set the tone for the way we're all supposed to think.
Go to CanaryCry.Party because it's a party. Find the live stream, email list, text notifications, street team posters, show notes, ways to connect with other Canarians and become a producer.
That's right. Head on over there. All sorts of good stuff and resources to make your life better. And of course, always you should go check out Ravel. Ravel's another podcast I do that is fun and exciting, and you're going to love it. For those Ravel heads out there, the episode did not drop yesterday, as usual. We have a slight technical issue, but it will be fixed today. So just hang tight. The new episode is coming out. This episode will be the one that we did in our Artist On series, where we are talking to an interior designer and architectural expert. And it's really, really fascinating. I think you guys are going to like it. So much exploration of God in those two industries that I never would have thought until I got down and dirty and interviewed an interior designer. Can you believe it? And what other podcast will have one of the top 10 battle rappers in the universe and then an interior designer on the next episode? So lots of fun going on over there. Check out Ravel on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you go. And of course, go follow the Canary Cry Clips channel on YouTube and Odysee.
That's it?
That's it, man. We're moving fast, baby.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
I was just showing everybody the Canary Cry Clips channel.
Oh, you can do that.
Yeah.
I mean, I can stretch it if you want.
No, it's okay.
I can talk for hours about Canary Cry Clips. So cool. Great clips. Share them with your friends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right.
Keep going.
Okay. What are we doing? We're doing politics, right?
Doing politics.
It's Latin for many. Now suck your blood. Politics. Your blood.
Okay, I want to start out over here at the New York Post. And this is a very special place to start out because the New York Post was the original mainstream outlet that did the reporting on the Hunter Biden laptop and was summarily sort of executed for doing so and shunned by the political and especially the liberal political community. But they're back and there's things going on. NewYorkPost.com headline, Spies Who Lie. 51, quote, intelligence experts refuse to apologize for discrediting true Hunter Biden story.
This is written by the New York Post editorial board. So
that's
I
right.
think they were a little irked.
They are. This is a moment of vindication for the New York Post.
Yeah.
And they want everybody to know about it because they were the ones who were excoriated for the Hunter Biden laptop story, and now they're here to lash out against 51 intelligence experts who refuse to apologize. Apologize to who? Apologize to the New York Post.
New York Post, yeah.
They are the supposed nonpartisan group of top spies looking out for the best interests of the nation. Ooh, brutal. But the 51 former intelligence, they keep putting intelligence in quotes, which I love. But it's just such a great burn.
I know.
But the 51 former, quote, intelligence officials who cast doubt on the Post's Hunter Biden laptop stories in a public letter really were just desperate to get Joe Biden elected president.
John Biden, the unknown
John Biden.
doppelganger.
Yeah, and more than a year later, even after the deep state sabotage has been shown again and again to be a lie, they refuse to own up to how they undermined the election. Ooh, the New York Post throwing down, making allegations that these intelligence officials undermined an election, which they're not wrong. But I mean, this is in the mainstream. The officials, including CNN pundit and professional fabricator James Clapper.
Yeah, they had to put this in the opinion section, but they can go off like this. So it's actually great.
It's fun. A man who was nearly charged for perjury for lying to Congress signed a letter saying that the laptop has classic earmarks of a Russian information operation. What proof did they have? By their own admission, none. Quote, we do not know if the emails are genuine or not, the letter said. They're just suspicious. Why? Because they hurt Biden's campaign. That's evidence enough. Keep in mind, this was written October 19th, 2020, 5 days.
Oh gosh, what happened? There we go.
What?
Sorry. I'm trying to find the next part of the article.
Oh, you were talking
on screen.
To yourself.
I was talking to myself, and I forget that I'm podcasting.
He's muttering.
Sorry,
He's getting older and older, folks. He's muttering into the microphone. Keep in mind, this was written October 19th, 2020, 5 days after the Post published its first story. Neither Joe Biden nor Hunter Biden has denied the story. They simply deflected questions. Didn't these security experts think that if this was disinformation, the Biden campaign would have yelled to the heavens that the story was false? Meanwhile, though the letter was advertised as being signed by people who worked, quote, for presidents of both political parties, a majority of the officials were Democrats. Politico picked up on the letter and ran the false headline, quote, Hunter Biden's story is Russian disinfo. Dozens of former Intel officials say, quote, that headline is still online. Oh, I'm sorry.
That was the end of the quote
in the wrong place. Yeah. The headline was Hunter Biden's story is Russian disinfo, dozens of former Intel officials say. That headline is still online today, even though the letter clearly says they don't know if it's Russian disinformation. That headline was tweeted out by legions of Democrats, including current White House spokeswoman Jen Psaki, as proof that it was all a con. That tweet also is still up despite being proven false. Thus, pure speculation by a group of biased officials became gospel among the media. This was, quote, fake news and could be safely ignored. Keep in mind that Twitter already had banned the New York Post a few days before. The rationale was that this was hacked materials, even though it wasn't, and Twitter had no evidence to think it was. A Facebook official, meanwhile, said it wasn't going to allow the sharing of the Post's story until it was fact-checked by a third party, a check that never happened.
No, it happened. It probably was like, oh, it's not good. Let's not do it.
Good point.
Yeah.
Thus, big tech, former government officials, and the media conspired together to bury the story. You have the media talking about the media.
Burying stories.
This is, New York Post is not some obscure independent thing. They are mainstream corporate media, and they're crushing everybody. No, not just bury, create a false narrative that flipped the script to make Joe Biden the victim of a conspiracy. In short, they peddled online disinformation to sway an election. No one actually proved the Post's reporting was wrong. Media outlets showed up at the doorstep of the computer repairman who had gotten the laptop, and he confirmed it. People who exchanged emails with Hunter Biden attested to their accuracy in the days and weeks that followed. Only after the election was safely over did Hunter tactically admit the laptop was his. Last year, a Politico reporter confirmed that the laptop's materials were real, and now the coup de grace, the Times, said it's authenticated material from the laptop. Yep. There have been no consequences. Twitter and Facebook still censor information based on political bias, and Congress takes no action. Many of the letter signers continue to be used as, quote, experts by the media. Clapper, for instance, spent years on CNN calling Donald Trump a Russian asset, a lie invented and fed by political operatives of Hillary Clinton. New York Post? You can't write this stuff. He's still there. Guess accuracy is not a condition of employment. Well, yeah, it's CNN. We know that. Do the officials who tried to flip the 2020 election feel any regret for their actions? The Post reached out to those who signed the letter. Most would not answer the question. A few doubled down, including Clapper. No remorse, no shame, and no apologies. And then they just sort of have a list of all the people, which is really funny. And also how reporting is supposed to work. But they list them. You got Mike Hayden didn't respond. You've got Jim Clapper doubling down, his quote there. Yes, I stand by the statement made at the time, in all caps, and would call attention to its fifth paragraph. Think blah, blah, blah. Nobody cares. They list all of them. And most of them didn't respond. But that's good journalism, is actually not paraphrasing, not, getting it from a unnamed third party, not a, quote, CNN witness or whatever, to list the people they called and write down their answer. Can you imagine if our news actually worked like that? It would be incredible. But there you go. The Hunter Biden story in general is flaring up, Gonz. We've got to flare up. And I'm sure you got more for us here.
Yeah, well, got a couple headlines to cover. His tangent here. And this is from the Daily Mail. And the headline is Republican senators eye sweeping probes into Joe Biden's family. Dr. Fauci and the southern border top lawmaker blasts lack of transparency and promises inquiry into Hunter should the GOP take back majority. Of course, there's always a clause, right? Like a political hook in there, right? Like if we can get back in,
yeah,
do all this
almost
stuff.
like I mean, on one hand, trying to make the case like, oh, we can't do it without a majority,
right?
But also kind of holding it hostage.
Yeah,
like,
this is very Trump.
As if a single Democrat wouldn't, be open to the idea of the investigation, which they could be right. It would be much easier to do if the Republicans had a majority. But, there's some rascally Democrats who might want to push back on the Biden family or not. I mean, maybe they would fear for their lives or something.
Maybe. Yeah, it probably depends on who you are and what kind of trouble, what kind of mix up you have with these people. But another headline from the New York Times, and maybe I think this might be the main article that, the New York Times admitting it, but the headline here is Hunter Biden paid tax bill, but broad federal investigation continues. It's really trying to soften the blow of the story.
Well, it's an ongoing story, and part of the ongoing story was that he owed like $1 million in taxes, unpaid taxes, like a good Democrat, and he had to get a loan to pay taxes. He got $1 million loan or something like that just to pay the taxes. I don't know where the loan came from. I don't know who serviced the loan. I don't know if it's a bank loan or a private loan. But he wanted to pay those taxes very quickly because it's one thing to be under federal investigation. It's another thing entirely to be under federal investigation while you owe taxes.
Mm-hmm. It says here, Mr. Biden's taxes are just one element of the broader investigation stemming from work he did around the world. Hunter Biden is a Yale-educated lawyer. We know about all of his stuff there.
By the way, those are taxes that he partially owed because of his seat on the
Burisma thing.
The Burisma board. Yeah. So, it's a little sketchy when the country that your family was extorting for $50,000 a month with no experience in the energy sector while you did nothing. I think he showed up to like 2 meetings, is being invaded by Russia. And you owe taxes for the money you made during that deal. It's in a pretty sketchy spot.
Yeah, and this is New York Times. Keep in mind, as recently as last month, the federal grand jury heard testimony in Wilmington, Delaware, from 2 witnesses, one of whom was a former employee of Hunter Biden, whose lawyer was later subpoenaed for financial records that reflected money Mr. Biden received from a Ukrainian energy company. Mm-hmm. Wow. New York Times. Mm-hmm. The investigation, which began as a tax inquiry under the Obama administration, widened in 2018 to include possible criminal violations of tax laws, as well as foreign lobbying and money laundering rules, according to people familiar with the inquiry. But prosecutors face a number of hurdles to bringing criminal charges, the people familiar with the investigation said, including proving that Mr. Biden intentionally violated the Foreign Agents Registration Act, or FARA. Intentionally violated. That's interesting. Mm-hmm. They're trying to get him off on a technicality. They're like, well, given sort of what we've seen of Hunter Biden publicly, at least, I wouldn't be surprised if he had no idea. He's like, oh, I just thought this is just how it is. It's just how things work.
Well, I've talked to, my LibJoe buddy, my buddy who's a liberal journalist, and I brought this stuff up with him in sort of a friendly, banterish way, and he would slough it off just like, oh, sons of politicians, they're always up to something. Like, okay.
Okay, well, I guess it's turn a blind eye if he's a Democrat, I guess.
Exactly. So there's that kind of idea.
He's my team,
like, those rascally rabbits always off, extorting countries.
Well, you wouldn't do it? Bet
what do you expect?
If you were given the opportunity.
Do you expect Hunter Biden to take the moral high ground? I mean, come on. He loves crack. Of course he's going to take money from the Ukrainians on behalf of his father. Yes,
right,
and of course,
well.
there's all sorts of conspiracy theories regarding Ukraine and the Biden family and what may or may not be revealed, and perhaps Putin knows that and is looking to leverage that in some way. I have no evidence. I have no evidence. I have no nothing. These are just things I've seen floating around.
Isn't that the thing that Russians record everything or spy on everybody, or I remember Trump talking about that. Like you can't go to Russia. Everything is recorded. They track everything.
They have a very thorough
surveillance apparatus
that does extend into neighboring countries, ex-Soviet states. So, I'm sure that there's some pretty nasty stuff on Hunter over there.
Oh, I'm sure.
Although there were fake P-tapes about Trump, so who knows? Maybe it's fake Hunter Biden photos.
Crack tapes.
Anywho.
Sure.
Who knows?
Klaus, tell us what's happening.
We need a great reset.
Learn to use the dark side of the Force.
Oh, my.
Oh, this is great. So we've talked about the Great Resignation, the Great Reset, the great, all sorts of the great things. Yes, that have been talked about over the past couple of years. Partially, I believe, to sort of obfuscate the Great Reset when they were trying to hide it and deny it,
Yeah.
But do you remember that? There's a moment when they were trying to deny that it existed at all.
Yeah, it's just a wild conspiracy theory. And then people were like, actually, World Economic Forum guy wrote a book called, and they're like, well,
here's a promotional marketing video from 2016.
They're like, well, it's not a plan to take over the world then.
Yeah, you crazy tinfoil hat wearers.
It is, though. When
says
you read it.
literally right there. Okay. So you get it. TheGuardian.com has a headline. Turns out the Great Resignation may be followed by the Great Regret. Ooh,
written by Gene Marks. Okay, Mark of the Beast DNA manipulation guy. Gene Marks, whatever.
I'm just gonna read a couple paragraphs because it's pretty simple to understand. You don't need more than a couple of paragraphs. Great. Employers across the U.S. have been dealing with historic shift in labor thanks to the pandemic. We know it as the Great Resignation, and the pundits have been falling all over themselves to explain to us why employers are at fault. Now it looks like the Great Resignation may be followed by the Great Regret. There's no doubt employers have a lot to learn from the unprecedented rate of job turnover. Researchers at the consulting firm McKinsey, for example, say that employees are tired and many are grieving. Quote, they want a renewed and revised sense of purpose in their work, writes its authors. Quote, they want social and interpersonal connections with their colleagues and managers. They want to feel a sense of shared identity. They want meaningful, though not necessarily in-person interactions, not just transactions. Unfortunately, some of us are not sympathetic enough to these needs. So our employees leave. Notice how it's all in the tense of our employees. This Gene Marks person is speaking on behalf of the employers. And notice how in that list of things that employees are asking for, what is not listed, what is suspiciously not listed, Gonz, is we want more money. This person has they have no connection with the reality of the situation that people want more. Oh, I don't know. The purpose for work? Money. No, he's just like, what do they want? They want social and interpersonal connections with the colleagues. They want to
feel like a human being? Looks like they just want to feel like a human being.
Yeah, they want meaningful in-person interactions and not just, they want to make friends. Fine, you want to make friends? We'll make friends. No, they want money. Okay, chill out. Research firm Gartner says this week that more than 70% of information technology workers are looking to change jobs. Ow. My microphone hit me in the face, are looking to change jobs this year. Yeah, and notice it's information technology workers, a very convenient 70% number that they chose on an extremely small and narrow industry with lots of leverage. 70% of information technology workers are looking to change jobs this year, and urges employers to adopt more human-centric work model that includes better working hours, more productive meetings. Oh, yes. I want to change jobs so I can go to more productive meetings.
Do you know what would help in this process to become more human-centric for the human-centric experience for the workers?
Could it perhaps be more money?
More money would help, but also more robots. More robots would give the people the ability to be in those productive meetings, because all the actual productivity is being churned over by the robots.
Why? That's the problem. All these humans. They want more productive meetings and greater flexibility to reduce this turnover. Then there's the low pay, a lack of opportunities for advancements, and feeling disrespected at work, which are the top reasons why Americans quit their jobs last year, according to Pew Research in a new study. The study also found, quote, those who quit and are now employed elsewhere are more likely than not to say their current job has better pay, more opportunities for advancement, and more work-life balance and flexibility. Oh, so, okay, great.
That's what they say.
Yes. But then they go on, but are they? Like questioning the poll takers. Like, oh, they say they're making more money, but are they really?
They only do that when it is inconvenient facts coming out against their narrative, Yes,
otherwise,
they would be like, look at the stats.
It's the first thing the devil did was sow doubt. Mm-hmm. And yes, you do it. But are they? Is that really what God said? Is that really what the poll takers said, that they are getting more money in their new jobs? Are all these workers leaving their jobs for new jobs, finding that the new jobs are that much better than their old jobs?
Oh my gosh,
that their new employers?
This person sounds like an insane person.
It's madness. It's madness. That their new employers are that much better than their existing employers? Or is it possible that Joe is taking a new job that's replacing Susan, who left that job for the same reason that Joe is leaving his job?
Oh, look, so they're trying to say people are just playing musical chairs.
well, right. But notice he questioned the sentiment that they are making more money in their new job, that they're getting better opportunities for advancement and better work-life balance, better flexibility. He says, but are they? But then doesn't refer to it again. A classic rhetorical misdirection, where he says, but are they? As if he's going to tell us, no, they are not making more money, and no, they cannot advance better, or whatever.
These people are lying.
But he doesn't address it at all. Complete snake writing we have here. Yeah. Yes, there's lots of turnover and lots of people changing jobs, but given the fact that most are likely just swapping these jobs, maybe the problem isn't with the employer. Perhaps employees are being a bit naive.
This sounds like this person has a grudge against some people that have left or something.
Whoever Gene is,
Marks, man,
is a corporate lizard person shill who is employing some very classic, easy to spot rhetorical trickery in order to send this around to people thinking of leaving their jobs, to try to convince them that it won't be better. Don't quit. It's no better over there, even though he has not given one shred of evidence to show that the people changing jobs, even if it is musical chairs, you know what happens in the musical chairs? The employer realizes they're not paying enough. And so they raise the rates and then hire again. So yes, it is musical chairs, but the pay is changing. That theory has been given credence by another study released this week by the job search site Daily Muse. Its study of more than 2,500 workers found that almost 3/4 of them, 72%, experienced either surprise or regret that the new position or new company they quit their job for turned out to be very different from what they were led to believe. Nearly half of 48% of these workers said they would try to get their old job back thanks to a phenomenon that the Daily Muse is calling shift shock. Shift shock. Quote, they'll join a new company thinking it's their dream job, and then there's a reality check, the company CEO Catherine Minshew told Fox News. Quote, it's this really damaging phenomenon where people are brand new in our role, and then they suddenly realize it's not at all as advertised. That is not a problem with the employee. That is a problem of false advertising by the employer. They're saying, yes, our company is tricking people into these new jobs and pulling a bait and switch. And turns out that the job is not the dream job. That is not naivete on the employee. That is lies and manipulation by the employer. It is lizard people, and they are trying to keep you stuck in whatever cycle you're in, folks. They want you to give up any idea that life can be better and just stay where you're at. And
stay inside, Zoom call people.
Exactly. It's what is it? Employee lockdown. What is a career lockdown? Mm-hmm. Don't go anywhere. Don't leave your job. Don't do anything. It's bad out there, man. You're gonna regret it.
They go after Gen Zs in this article too.
Yes, they do. Do you want to keep going?
No,
we don't really need to. I mean, the Gen Z thing is pretty funny. So we'll read the Gen Z
paragraph,
article. Yeah. Much of this confusion. Oh, I love this. So they're talking about this confusion about like people being tricked by companies into bad jobs.
Yeah.
But then it goes like this. Much of this confusion is being driven by Gen Z. Those generally born after 1995 who make up. I mean, isn't this great, Gonz? We're no longer to blame. Us millennials.
Oh, thank you. Gen Z takes the burden.
Gen Z gets the abuse that we've been getting forever. Much of this confusion is being driven by Gen Z, who those generally born after 1995, who make up more than a quarter of the workforce. According to a recent study by career counseling provider Zeddy, those workers report that the factors are most appealing in a new job include, of course, a good benefits package,
money,
but just as important to them is a company with values that match their own, that has a purpose for being that goes beyond merely making profit, offers plenty career development and progression opportunities, and has strong brand reputation. Wow. Okay. I mean, none of that sounds like crazy. They want to work for a big company. They don't want to feel like their sole purpose is to feed lizard people more expensive baby blood. They don't want to feel like, they're working for an evil company that's, harming whatever they care about. All of these are worthy goals. But right now, how many businesses, particularly smaller firms, really offer this? The reality is that unless you're working for a global giant like Amazon or Google, who, as we all know, have their own drawbacks, most businesses will struggle to meet all of these demands. Working for a small business can be rewarding, fun, and more flexible at a larger organization, but in the end, we're just a business. Again, he's speaking as a business. We are just a business. Let's admit that our products and services may be vital to the economy. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
So there you go. A beautiful piece of propaganda to try to keep the working man down, to try to convince people that life as you have it now cannot be better. It gives the impression that employers are both conspiring with one another to manage the power, this newfound power that workers are finding themselves having to, just get a job that they don't feel is soul crushing or whatever. But also it's this sort of like brainwashing of, and not just brainwashing, but
it's kind of killing a dream too. It's like, you can't have all that.
It's inspiring despair.
It is. It's crazy. This is
the currency that they are working with in this article is despair, and sort of my colloquial definition of despair is being under the impression that every day will be the same and life will never get better.
Right.
That being sort of despair.
There's no hope whatsoever in this.
I know. And this
very
is
dark.
This is a movement to try to literally squash the hope of regular people.
Yeah.
Don't change jobs. Don't seek more money. Again, they admitted that people who switch jobs get more money, and they never refuted that fact. They just used rhetorical nonsense to try to give an impression that that wasn't the case. But their stats show workers are getting more money by withholding their labor, and these lizard people don't like it. And so keep an eye out for this, folks. They are out there. They are trying to keep you under control. They are trying to keep you from making a better life for yourself. And they're telling you, stop being so naive. Get real. Just work for the man. Just manufacture the weapons. It doesn't matter if it aligns with your values or if it's a wholesome product.
Yeah.
Just go to work, or we'll replace you with robots.
You're so
choice.
Selfish for wanting all these things in your life.
Disgusted me reading this. And look, I get it. I'm a millennial. I'm a little bit more on that side. Of course, boomer listeners of ours, generally, I won't say all, but it is sort of a stereotypical sort of boomer sentiment. We got it from them when we were younger, that a job's a job, and you go to the job and you don't throw a fit and blah, blah, the whole thing. And to a degree, I get that. But also, if you're hating your life, you should be allowed to go get a new job.
Yeah.
Even the staunchest.
Even if it's just for a transition, a change of pace, something.
Even the staunchest work hard boomers should admit, and I believe they would. This is not a bash boomer time. I'm just saying, even the most work hard bootstrapping boomers should agree that if you want to change your job, you should change your job for whatever you want. And in this market, you can do so, and you will get more money. Don't let these lizard people tell you otherwise. That's it. And speaking of which, Gonz, speaking of changing jobs, it's time for us to take a break.
It's break time! Come on, take a break.
Luckily, Gonz, you and I are not in the market for a new job. We're happy right where we're at, and that's only because of the support of our producers. You see, folks, you may have noticed no advertisements, no affiliate codes, no corporate money whatsoever. And this article is a great example of why we want to completely stay away from corporate money, not just because, money is bad or something, but because strings are attached. Corporate money comes with corporate influence and corporate incentives. And you just read the mindset of this corporate America in such a time as these, which is, they want us to not have any hope for the future. No idea that tomorrow could be better than today. Just suck it up and dig the ditches. And someday, Gonz, we might have to dig ditches, but today is not that day, because producers of the show have realized that independent media, it can only continue with the protection and the participation by those who get value from it. It's called the value for value model. We create value. We do it 3 times a week, maybe even more if you take advantage of some of our other programs. And if you get any value out of what we do, you have the opportunity or the responsibility to put value back in. It's the only way independent media can maintain true independence. Otherwise, you get corporate money involved, and who knows what happens after that. And I think it's not only am I grateful to God that Gonz and I do not have to work for some corporation or peddle some corporate line in order to convince you that you need to spend money you don't have on things you don't need in order for us to support ourselves and keep this show going. But I think it's pretty valuable to you, dear listener, as well, that your independent media creators do not consider you to be a commodity, to be packaged up and sold, your consciousness, your brain, your eyes, your trust, your attention, to be sold off to corporations for our own personal gain. And that's why we do it the way we do. And when people support the show, they can do it in a couple ways. But the first way is by going to patreon.com/CCNT, or even better, you can go to CanaryCry.Radio.com/support.
CanaryCry.Radio.com/support.
That's right. And Gonz, who do we have to thank today for spending another day out from under the thumb of the lizard people?
Well, we already thanked him earlier, but we're going to thank him again. It's the executive producer.
Executive producers.
That's right.
Juan A.
Woo! Thank you very much, Juan A. Coming in hot with an executive producership of $133.33. That's right. And there's a note here from Juan A. Sup, bro chachos. Been a minute, but still love what you're doing and still very much support what you're saying. Yahweh has been blessing me, so I need to share the blessings. So here's the dinero. Take it and just go absolutely nuts with it. LOL, mucho amor. We will go absolutely nuts. We're going to pay for some services. We got to pay for our texting service here because all these people don't want to miss the show, and that helps out, Juan A. Thank you very much, executive producer, coming in hot. And this is a great example of even if you've produced before, perhaps you've been on a streak before, and it's been a while. We love it when our producers come back and sort of participate again and again when the Lord wills in their life to keep the show going. Thank you very much, Juan A., executive producer of episode 461.
Thank you very much, Juan A. Is there, do you want to mention Supply Drop, or are we good?
I want you to play the other executive producer jingle.
Right. Okay, yeah, let me do that first.
Where'd you find this?
There we go. Thank you very much. Yeah, hit Supply Drop for a second.
Supply drop.
That's right, CanaryCry.Supply.com. Go there. You can join up to support the show on a monthly basis. And if you sign up there, you will be signed up for the Canary Cry Supply Drop, where 4 times a year you will receive special packages chock-a-block full with cool, exclusive Canary Cry free gifts that we just love providing. And we're so grateful to be able to produce for our producers. And not only that, but you will also receive fun digital assets like NFTs and stuff like that, and lessons, tutorials, and how to do that kind of stuff. So it's a very valuable program. We love giving back to our producers. And so head to CanaryCry.Supply.com and sign up.
Waiting for Supply Drop.
All right, we got more producers to thank.
That's right. I'm going to start with this one that just came in, Gonz.
Okay.
I want to thank producer Jonathan B.
Thank you, Jonathan B.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Jonathan B. Comes in for $33.33 plus fees.
Illuminatus!
That's right. That's right. It's a good time. And I did not see a note from Jonathan B., but I'm grateful for his producership.
Thank you, Jonathan B. Next up, we have Jeremy D.
Jeremy D. comes in for $33.88.
Illuminatus!
Which I believe is $33.33 plus fees on the LINKTREE. So thank you very much, Jeremy D. Has a note here. Love you guys. Love the show. Thanks to my bro, Kellen. What's up, Kellen? For sharing the show with me. Your deacon. Yes. He's been awoken. His cage got rattled.
Yeah.
Yes. Kellen rattled some cages. Your deconstruction of the egregious happenings in the world is a huge help in calming the spirit. J Ship. Ooh, cool. I should have read the nickname before. Thank you very much, J Ship.
Thank you, J Ship. Next up. You good?
Yeah.
We got Morv.
You know producer Morv's on a streak. That's right. Let's go. Coming in for 66 episodes in a row. Thank you very much, Morv, for the 1111.
Has come. Execute order 66. 66.
11. You know, Jonathan, thank you very much, Morv. Jonathan B. is in the chat, and he said, oh no, I forgot to request a jingle. Drop another rump rattling jingle jangle. Yes, you got something to rattle Jonathan's rump laying around?
Weird way to...
The rump rattle playlist.
Weird request there.
It is
coming from Basil.
A beautiful piece of language. He's a poet.
All right, here we go. We got a couple things here.
From the ashes of that world, we'll build a better world.
But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be.
Yeah. Very good. Very good. Next up, we've got Putin22 coming in with 1111 plus fees.
Putin, huh?
Putin22.
Just realized that he didn't.
No. This is Putin. Putin 22.
Oh, right.
Yes.
Okay, sorry.
Still Russian. It's a Russian cat, though. Russian blue. Hi, guys. What day is it? Monday. I'm feline fine today. Hope you are, too. Looking forward to another great show. I've had my catnip, so I'm good to go. Meow, meow, meow. Be blessed. Puddin22. Thank you very much, Puddin22.
Thank you, Puddin22. Next, we have Sir JC, Knight of the Techno Squatch.
He's here. He's back. He's techno and squatchy on an 81 episode streak.
1001. Amen.
That's right. It comes in with the 1001. Happy Monday, B and G. Hope all is well in your neck of the woods. Keep resupplying me with that with the info that rattles those cages. You bet, JC. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sir JC. Next up, we have LX Protocol V2.
Here he is. Producer Bot is on a 9 episode streak.
Oh, shoot. I just switched off. I'm sorry.
Whoopsie
Here we go.
daisies. Yeah, 9 episodes means LX Protocol V2 is lit, fam.
Where'd you find this?
Hey, you lit now.
Coming in with 7s and fees, thank you. And a note that says, Gary, what day is
Gary,
it?
what day is it? Monday.
And a note that says, well, the note continues, I appreciate all you guys do. I drive a lot, so it fills the time nicely. A pocket full of Sleepy Joe jingles. God bless.
Pay them more.
That's not... Hold
That's
on.
not Sleepy Joe.
More.
Keep yapping, man.
I wrote the bill. They all want to share their data.
And Corn Pop was a bad dude.
Get vaccinated.
I've ordered more pills than anyone in the world.
We will hunt you down and make you pay.
That's a pocket full. Thank you very much, LX Protocol V2.
Thank you very much. Next up, we have Sir Scott, Knight of Truth.
On a 122 episode streak.
Quicker.
Oh, yeah!
Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you so much. Pocket full of 7s. Happy Monday, everyone. Hope you all had a great weekend. Thank you, Sir Scott.
Thank you, Sir Scott.
Light day today, Gonz. Very light, but that's okay because that does conclude our list of producers who came in the amount of $7.77, which entitles them to have a note read on the show. But we got a few came in under that, starting with Sir Case of the Shield Knight on a 132 episode streak.
Quicker.
Oh, yeah!
Thank you so much.
Indeed. Thank you so much, Sir Casey. Next up, we've got the first streak sister, Gail M, on a 98 episode streak. Yeah. 98.
Women rule.
And we got the second streak sister, Veronica D, on a 98 episode streak as well.
Women rule.
Then we got Sir James, Knight and Servant of the Lion of Judah, which his name is
of the.
I believe it's Lion of Judah.
Oh.
Tribe of the Lion. Such a long name. We got to check on it.
Yeah.
But Sir James is on a 67 episode streak. Indeed. Next up, we got Runk Smash on an 11 episode streak. Then we got Jackie Yu on a 39 episode streak.
Yeah, she's on a streak.
Women rule.
And last but not least, we got the good Doctor Who Done Dat, 68 episodes in a row.
Oop, wrong one, sorry. Woo!
You're keeping up. Pretty impressive. Mm-hmm. Okay, that concludes our producers who have come in and supported the show with their treasure. We appreciate it so much. Because of you, we don't need to get all mixed up in that lizard people money. And thank you so much for your patronage.
Shut up and take my money.
Thank you for your patronage. Thank you for your patronage. Thank you for your patronage.
Mm-hmm.
Please leave a message after the tone.
At the tone, please record your message.
Leave a message. Beep.
beep.
Message.
Oh, if you go to CanaryCryNewsTalk.com on the right-hand side or the bottom or somewhere, there's a green tab sticking out. Click on that. You can leave us a message. You can do literally whatever you want with it. And just know we're probably going to play it on the show. Unless you feel abused by your message, then we will not play it.
Okay.
But who's leaving some messages, Gonz?
We're going to start off with Bubbles from Sunnyvale Trailer Park. And
Bubbles.
Yeah, I didn't know. I've never seen the show. I don't know much about it. But once I saw the meme, I was like, oh, this guy. I know him from the meme.
I really chuckled to myself. This reminded me of Trailer Park Boys, which is started out as a Canadian independent TV show.
I remember.
Kind of based on it's like a mockumentary type thing, kind of like The Office or Parks and Rec or something, but it was extremely low budget. But was just so charming and well done that it got picked up and became kind of a sensation. And I think they made a movie eventually. And yes, one of the beloved characters, Bubbles, called in, left a message. It was a real honor.
Hey guys, Basil and Gonz, this is Bubbles from Sunnyvale Trailer Park, and just want to call and let you guys know I'm like your biggest fan. I love the show. Me and my kiddies, we listen to it 3 times a week, and really good show you guys got. Really want you guys to know too that our favorite day of the week to listen to the show is Wednesday, because me and my kiddies, we really like the old Wednesday jingle, but I hear people are wanting to do away with that. Not too keen on that idea. And I really think Sam Elliott should apologize to Macho Man Randy Savage, because that's like the greatest wrestler that ever lived. And he should also remember that he who is without sin should cast the first stone. And sounds like Sam Elliott's doing a lot of stone casting there. So anyway, you guys have a good day. God bless you.
Does he? I don't know the original voice, so this is I can't tell.
That was pretty good. It was very good. Well, what do you mean original voice? Of course, that was him.
I've never heard him before.
You're unfamiliar with his voice, right? Yes. No, that was him. That was that was pretty spot on for sure. He's spot on doing his own real voice, of course.
Yes.
Yeah. Great. Thank you very much, Bubbles. I'm glad to have you call in and say hi to the kiddies for me. And it sounds like he's Bubbles is sort of a peace-loving individual. He just doesn't like a lot of tension or confrontation. So it's natural that he would try to smooth out the war, the civil war.
There's some pushback from the chat. It's pretty funny.
Yeah,
the most inconsequential stuff. People get real impassioned.
I'm telling you, man, especially with Canadians. I mean, I don't know actually if they actually care about the show in Canada, but maybe they do. But I do know it is quite the sort of cult classic down here.
Well, we got another message from Anthony Fauci. He's been kind of quiet for a while, but of course we get the inside scoop. Here he is.
Well, good afternoon, everybody listening to Canary Cry News Talk. I should say, I don't appreciate the misrepresentation, frankly, of Senator Rand Paul going on about gain of function. He doesn't understand what he is frankly talking about. Now, one more thing. All this talk about new jingles for Wednesday, I'm telling you folks, these people don't trust the science. They don't trust me, Dr. Fauci. There's something in the air with the misinformation, the disinformation, and the malinformation, frankly, with people not wearing their masks and getting their droplets everywhere.
Uh-oh. That's where the message ends. I don't.
Oh, yeah. See, that's the thing. A lot of times, the celebrities or the politicians or the people that call in, it's because nobody else will listen to them.
Oh,
and they've been sort of kicked off. Nobody's letting Rand Paul and Dr. Fauci. That's so 2021. We don't care anymore. So nobody's listening to them. They tend to get a little sauced and then call in. Sort of the laid back nature of our voicemail system. Usually they're late at night, and they've been sort of Fauci
yelling at clouds. They want someone to hear them.
Yeah, he doesn't really have a whole lot else going on, so he's sort of recreating in probably any number of things, and that's why they sound a little off. That's usually why they sound a little off when they call. Thank you, Dr. Fauci, for the call. Always wonderful to hear from you.
Great. We got one more from Shiloh C.
Hey, Shylock here.
Shylock.
So many years ago, my friend told me to watch this video on YouTube, Trey Smith, about the Ark. I was asleep for many years. I watched that video, and it woke me back up to the truth of the Bible, the realness of it. Through that, YouTube suggested, hey, you might like Faces Like the Sun. So I listened to that. That was awesome. Great information. Oh, this is what's really going on in the world. Through that, I found Canary Cry Radio. Started listening to that on my podcast player from episode 1. Great show. Where's it been all my life? And then you guys started News Talk Radio. My question is, what provoked you guys to start that show? What was the genesis of that show? Because you guys provide so much information. You guys do a show every other day. I don't know how Gonz does it with a family. Basil, you're awesome too. You guys are just awesome, and I thank you for it. I thank you for all the time you guys spend on this show for us. And you know what? We also need more people to get on the audio message. Let's hear your voice. We got a lot of followers out there, right?
Yeah, that's a good point.
10 years strong. Keep it up. I pray for your prosperity.
Thank you, Shylock.
Thank you very much. Yes, and a great question. Not one that we've talked about recently. We have in the past, but I think it works. Why don't I give a stab at it, Gonz?
Sure.
And you can tell me if I got anything wrong. Well, basically, we had been doing Canary Cry Radio for 4 years at that point, and done a lot of interviews and done a lot of very sort of specific, fringy ideas or topics and things that we had spent a lot of time on. And then a number of things. There's sort of a logistical issue as your children started, your family started growing, right? Yeah. Your family started growing. I had some changes in my life, and it just became harder and harder and harder to schedule people.
Yeah, we went months without publishing anything. 2-3 months at a time.
At that point, we were putting about I think at our worst, we put out 8 episodes in a year, which was pretty bad. It really slowed down. And so we were looking for a way to continue doing important stuff in the same milieu or whatever genre. And we had a deep and abiding desire to become more consistent. That was kind of the thing. We're like, we need to be more consistent. That is the biggest problem that we're having right now. So we just kind of built the show around that. Like, what could we do that we don't need to rely on somebody else to show up? And what can we do that we don't need to, that it's not as much of a time commitment, so we could do it more regularly, that we could do on the same day at the same time every week, that kind of thing.
And the show was half hour plus an extra half hour at the beginning. I think we had a paywall thing.
We didn't even do the bonus episodes.
The bonus,
No, we started out, we're just like, okay, we're just going to do it. We're going to stay consistent. We're just going to get our act together, man. And so we chose 29 minutes because we could do 29 minutes. It's hard to be like, oh, we don't have time for 29 minutes.
Yeah.
So we did 29 minutes once a week. which was on basically the same format. Jingles came pretty quickly. We started playing jingles. We didn't have any value for value stuff at that point, but we did pretty good. And we did those 29-minute episodes every single week on the dot. And then we added bonus episodes for the Patreon people about a year or two in. And we did that for, from 16 till 2020.
Yep.
4 years we did it that way.
And then the pando.
And then the pandemic happened, and we had a bunch more time on our hands, and then we started doing it.
They're like, hey, we already do this thing where we sit at home and work, so why don't we do that more now that you and especially I remember, too, you were like, let's do it, let's go all in, and I'm like,
let's charge it.
Well, that's good because I've been waiting for that, I was waiting for Basil to not have anything else to do.
Okay, yeah,
so,
sure.
It was good.
Oh, that's a good point. It was a life change for me, the pandemic. Very busy boy a lot of the time. But yeah, and I do like to think that if it weren't for the fact that we spent those 4 years, we were still doing interviews also.
Yeah.
But we were then also we had something coming out every week. And I think if we hadn't had that 4 years of training of being consistent and nailing it, I don't think we could have done this new thing.
True. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff we wade through here now. And
we really did sort of do what we wanted to do, which was practice consistency and take it seriously. Yeah. We did that for 4 years, and then the pandemic hit, and we were all trained up and ready to go, and we had the time and started doing it this way. So there you go. I think that's more or less the story.
Yep. Can't disagree with you there. That's how it shall be written down in history.
That's right. Thank you very much for the question, Shylock, and thank you everybody who left us voice messages. Remember, you can leave us a voice message as well. You heard Shylock. We need more voices. Yeah, and that's the thing. As big as the actual active community is, the inactive listeners are about 100 times that much.
The passive listeners, you're saying?
Yeah. I mean, that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. Most people just listen to the show and don't participate in any of the things that there are to participate in, including producing the show. But okay. So yeah, there you go. So why did I say that? Oh, yeah. When the comment about we got a bunch of followers, why don't more people leave messages? A lot of people, they're living lives. They don't want to necessarily get wrapped up in the more personal side of the show. But they're always welcome to, and I do encourage them to. A lot of valuable relationships and a lot of valuable participation. I will say, leaving messages, producing the show, creating art, becoming a producer and whatever that means to you, really will change a lot of things for you. I mean, it's, these producers feel real ownership of the show, and they do, because if it weren't for them, there would be no show. So I encourage everybody to give it a try, produce in whatever way you can, at least once, and just, let the good feels wash over you, even if you're just leaving a voice message.
All right.
Time to wake up.
Let's wake up and then say bye to YouTubers. Wake up first.
Yes, it's wake up time.
Hey, yo, wake up.
And time to say bye to YouTube.
Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm. Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure?
Go to Twitch, Rumble, Odysee, Twitter, Facebook, whatever it is. You can find all those links at CanaryCry.Party as well.
Too hot for YouTube.
That's right, YouTube. Go to Canary Cry.
YouTube. Now you see me. Now you don't.
Follow. Come back, YouTube. Go to another place.
All right.